You'll hear us.
Okay, cool. What up, Patreon? I did a little intro, but I was kind of meandering into it because I wasn't sure if it was actually live yet or not.
I see. We are live now.
But we are live. What up, Patreon?
Hey, Patreon.
So excited to have you guys. Thanks for subscribing to get video content. I hope that you like it. We're working on doing some, I think, Jake, you had some ideas for some more bonus content that we're kind of throwing around. So
Zach and I have a mini series in the pipeline that I don't know if we should talk about it now or we should wait until we're not recording it.
I guess we could talk about it now. It's like very early stage of planning.
Just for Patreon right now.
Yeah, this is just for Patreon.
So who cares?
We are looking to, obviously you've seen the Barbie episode that hasn't gone up yet. Because Zach's files are still uploading.
No, they uploaded.
They uploaded. It took 1 week.
It took a week and a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we started talking about Butt Rock in that episode, and we are going to do a little mini series defending Butt Rock. What is Butt Rock?
What is that?
Butt Rock is.
We're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we're gonna get into
you're
Butt
gonna
Rock
get
is.
into it. Can you give us like a sneak? Can you give us at least Scott and I a little bit of what
Nickelback?
Oh, got it. Creed.
And other bands similar to Nickelback.
It's a band?
Hinder.
Have you never heard of Nickelback?
No, I know what Nickelback is. Butt Rock is a band?
No,
it's like a genre.
Yeah.
Oh.
Not like a real, like, it's not like Nickelback is calling themselves Butt Rock.
It's sort of like, there's rock, but rock.
No, B-U-T-C.
I think
I like both. Yeah. How did it come up?
We were talking about Matchbox 20.
Matchbox 20.
And then you said, do you think Matchbox 20 is Butt Rock? And I had to ask you what Butt Rock was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to hear your guys' little Butt Rock series.
Yeah, I'm ready for the Butt Rock content.
A little sneak peek. Apparently, the term Butt Rock dates back to the 80s.
Really? I didn't know that.
Just learned about it like 2 months ago.
Wow.
Did you learn about this on the same place you learned what scat porn versus scat music was?
Reddit?
No. Actually, I guess, because I did learn about it on Reddit.
But not the scat subreddit.
No.
That you shouldn't go to.
No.
Did you end up finding really good scat music, by the way?
I don't even remember the situation. How I ended up there?
You were like trying to like get into scat music for some reason.
Which, by the way, feels like a not Zach move to me.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't remember. All I remember is ending. Never mind. I don't know if I want to get into that.
Have you ever been on the Lost Redditor subreddit where people are just posting in the complete wrong subreddit?
Yeah.
Oh no, but I would love to learn.
It's a good Reddit to look at. Do you think that you're a post on there?
It could be.
I don't want to try to find it.
Yeah.
Well, what do you guys say we get into this episode?
Yeah.
Thanks, Patreon.
Let's do it.
Love you guys.
Ask yourself, are you willing to zero out for the Oasis? Are you willing to fight? I am Parzival of the High Five. In the name of Artemis, in the name of H, in the name of Daito and Sho, we ask you to join us on Planet Doom. In the name of James Halliday himself, help us save the Oasis.
What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Rotten Potatoes, the podcast where four friends sit around and review movies that you absolutely should have seen already, but at least one of us hasn't. My name's Tyler, and I'm here with three of my best friends.
What's up? I'm Scott.
I'm Jake.
I'm Zach.
And this episode, we are talking about I think a fairly successful blockbuster movie. Like we kind of go all over the place this year. We've done, obviously, some really great, family movies. We've done some really great action movies. And then we've done all of the Fast Saga.
Those are the family movies.
Wow. Yeah, I was definitely talking about that, not Coco.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But no, I was excited for us to have another entry into Steven Spielberg. He's a director that we don't get to do a lot, frankly, because We've all seen most of his movies.
You know, I feel like that might not be true because I feel like he has a million movies, and I don't know that I've seen a lot of them. But maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I was looking at his IMDb the other day, and I can't remember anything in specific, so I shouldn't have started this sentence. But I was looking through movies, and I was like, I haven't seen that or that or that. So maybe I'll pick some coming up.
There's no way if you were looking at the list and you can't remember that I can prompt you into that.
Yeah, I think Bridge of Spies. Is Bridge of Spies one?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I actually just watched it last night. Again, like
Huh.
not for the first time, but
I haven't seen
Also,
it.
I just updated
Really?
our sheet to have all of next year's picks available if you want to start putting them in.
Oh shoot, it's opened. I
It's
can't believe
open.
I missed opening day.
It's today. I
Oh,
did
it happened today?
earlier today.
I'll do it later.
I already did my first 4 picks.
Wow.
Let's hear them.
I got 12 Years a Slave, Little Women, the 2019 version,
Okay.
Parasite, and 1917.
Oh, you're making me watch Parasite again?
So a lot of stuff you were gonna do this
Before.
last year.
There's still more that I'm trying to
remember.
remember. None of these were. 12 Years a Slave was already.
it was the
but
only
the other
one,
3
yeah.
were.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do Parasite.
Mm-mm.
I
Okay.
talked about it. I also changed my Spooktober pick, but I think
I heard,
that
yeah.
already.
You had
Yeah,
also
I'm
mentioned you were
supposed
gonna do Indiana Jones 2.
Oh yeah,
At one
I could
point.
do
We're
that.
gonna do a
I'll
lot
throw
of
that
the,
on next season. Yeah,
I'm gonna-
I legitimately I will.
Molly's going to be pretty disappointed about that Spooktober pick. Last time I saw Molly, I got into the car, and the first thing she said to me was, "I love Saw and I love The Conjuring." I gave her access to the spreadsheet, and then I was like, "Man, you're going to be excited that I have to watch those." And now she's going to be pretty bummed that you changed.
Let's just gonna move to next year.
Okay.
I'm also a little pretty bummed that we're not doing
You
Saw.
want to do Saw? Do you want me to change it back?
I would rather do Saw. I will say though, Sleepy Hollow, I haven't seen it in 20 years, but I loved it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and it's actually won Academy Awards.
And no, it's a really, yeah. I mean, it's a
It's
good
my
movie.
only shot at having an Academy Award this whole
This
season.
season.
I don't like. Am I really going to waste my last pick on a 50% Rotten Tomatoes Saw?
That's fair.
I don't think
That's
I'm
fair.
going to like it
No,
because it's Tim Burton.
It is
yeah.
Oh,
Tim
that's
Burton.
why. Not because it's gonna be scary, because it's Tim Burton.
Yeah, I don't like any Tim Burton movies.
And it's what's his name again too?
Johnny
Yeah,
Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Oh, I like Johnny Depp, but probably not Johnny Depp in Tim Burton movie.
Well, who knows?
Yeah, we are
Yeah.
kind of doing Scissorhands too.
The follow-up.
To be followed up with the Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
Yes. So Tyler, why did you? Getting back to our actual episode, why did you pick Ready Player One?
Yeah, I slept on this movie. I didn't watch it until it came out on digital, and I bought it and watched it at home. And I was like, man, how did I not see this in theaters? And loved the story so much that I bought the book. Absolutely loved the book. And then as soon as the sequel came out, like literally the day the sequel came out, I took the day off work. It was like a Thursday or Friday, I think. I took the day off work and a long weekend and just kind of burned through the second book.
Mm.
And I'm very excited about the second movie. Steven Spielberg is coming back to do.
When is it set to come out?
I don't know that it's announced.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the movie's been in production, or at least
I had
in
heard that it was
pre-production.
being made.
Yeah,
but I didn't hear any more.
but I
about it.
haven't seen like a trailer or a release date or anything like that. But I would imagine, based on when I heard about it, probably sometime late next year.
Depending on how long this writer strike goes.
Yeah, that obviously puts a massive wrench in writer and actor,
everything.
writer and actor strike right now.
How long does it get until we get to the point where there's like nothing coming out?
That's what happened in the original strike, or not the original, the strike when, like, in the early 2000s, and that's why reality TV got so huge in that time.
Yeah.
So you just get things.
Oh, because they're not actors.
You don't need
So-
writers or actors for.
Got it.
So there won't be nothing. There'll just be garbage.
But
Yeah,
as far as like movies and theaters,
Well, it might be like sooner rather than later, because a lot of movies are being pushed because they can't properly market them. And so like
Right.
Dune was just pushed to the beginning of next year.
Mm.
And so they're not really like, maybe for some, but for a lot of films, they're pushing them back so that they could have the actors interview and whatnot and market them. And so it's less of like, we're just going to get all these movies and then nothing. It's more like these movies that we should be getting, we won't get for a while.
they're still going to hold them until they can do everything that they
Yeah.
normally would.
It's kind of COVID 2.0.
when it comes to
A
movies.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to the entertainment industry.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, I absolutely loved this movie and thought it was a really I really honestly, more than the movie, I really loved the book, and I thought that the movie was a fairly faithful adaptation of the book. I mean, it had the writer of the book was like a co-screenwriter on the film, and he was like on set and very bought into the whole process, and so it at least is true to the author's heart for the story.
When did the book come out? Do you know?
The book came out, I mean, not long before the movie, to be honest. Well, I shouldn't say not long, only a few years before the movie.
Okay.
So pretty much as soon as the author Ernest Cline had been working with like a buddy, like pretty early on in the project, and this buddy shopped it around to film studios before it even hit print.
Oh, interesting.
So I think Warner Brothers bought the rights to the film before, I think it was Warner Brothers distributed it before the book was even released.
Oh.
Well, I'm going to jump into some of the facts around the movie.
Yeah.
This was directed, like we said, by Steven Spielberg, written by Zach Penn, and based on a novel by Ernest Cline. Released March 29th, 2018, has a runtime of 140 minutes. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 72%. IMDb gave it a 7.4, so they're in agreement on where it's ranked. It had a pretty big box office of $583 million on also a fairly big budget of $170 million, so that's about a 3.4 return, and then it wasn't nominated or win any awards.
So who was a late bloomer on this?
I hadn't seen it.
I was also a late bloomer.
Scott, you had seen this before.
I had seen this before.
Did we watch it together?
Yes.
Did we watch it together for the first time?
I don't think so.
Maybe. I might have seen it before you.
You might have seen it, and then because I saw it at our house.
Yeah.
And you had bought it. Was that how you first watched it?
Uh-huh.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was. We both had our first time together. I liked it.
Either I watched it and immediately told you we've got to watch this movie together.
It could be.
Or we watched it together for the first time.
Yeah.
What do you think the first time you saw it and rewatching it again? How did it hold up?
Yeah, my initial take, I remember liking it. I thought it was better than I thought it was going to be. I remember seeing the previews for it and stuff and thinking oh, this is going to be a lame movie.
Yeah. It looked like the Dungeons and Dragons movie turned out to be.
Yeah, maybe. I
never thought the movie was kind of fun. I think I'll get into it later.
But yeah, I've just seen all these video game characters coming together, and I'm I've just never seen movies do this well. This idea of bringing in all these different IPs and making it into a conglomerate movie. But yeah, I think they executed well. I thought it was a fun time. Definitely a popcorn movie. Not a whole lot of I would say heart or anything. Even the speech was the most heartfelt moment that we shared at the beginning, and it's kind of eh. But it's a fun time. I enjoy it. I enjoy all the references to video games, and it's a decent story.
Zach, you were a late bloomer on this.
I was.
What do you think?
I was kind of mid on it. It wasn't my favorite. There were some aspects of it that I liked. I think I liked the first two acts quite a bit, and then the third kind of lost me. But I had some fun with it. There were some parts that I thought were really fun. I'm sure we'll get into it, but I enjoyed going into The Shining. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, it's not one of my favorite Spielberg movies. So yeah, I was kind of middle of the line on it.
Jake, what about you?
I feel like I agree with Zach. I feel like I was pretty into it the first two acts, and I do think that it lost me a little bit. Honestly, it felt, I was surprised at the end of the movie. I was surprised you picked it because it felt like a kid's movie to me. The way it wrapped up, and I wasn't expecting that. Well, one, because you picked it, and that doesn't seem like a you pick, and then two, because I don't know, it didn't seem like a super kid movie to me, and then at the end it kind of wrapped up that way. But I had a lot of fun with the first two acts, I would say, and there were a lot of things I really liked. I think The Shining was my favorite part as well. I thought that was really fun, and I think there were a lot of really fun parts. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I got a lot of spit in my mouth for some reason. But yeah, overall, I was pretty mid on it.
Yeah, The Shining, we can jump into that. We can talk about that for a little bit. That was my favorite part of the movie too. And yeah, you're right, Jake. Like typically kids movies are not going to be my pick. And this book as well is definitely, I would call it like young adult fiction, youth fiction. But, you know, it's sophomoric for sure. It's not, you know, a very heavy hitting novel. But I love in the novel, I love all of the like pop culture references in the book. And in the movie, they do a lot of different pop culture references, but I love how they handle it. Like they just essentially take things where it's like that plays better in a book narrative format than it plays in a film. Like it just isn't exciting to watch. And so they switched a lot of things. And my favorite thing that they switched was The Shining.
The Shining wasn't in the book?
Wow. Not in the book.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, not in the book.
One of the things I kind of like, other than like showing things very briefly, like, oh, hey, Tracer is here from Overwatch. Kind of felt like pop culture stopped at 1980, like or 1989, and just didn't advance.
That's true.
From in this, and I thought that was weird.
Master Chief was in it.
Yeah, but you like it wasn't. I don't know. Like those are all like just very easy to add in. Like, oh, hey, this is just a little picture of Master Chief or whatever. But like everything that it was built around, like the whole quest and like everything that this kid was into as well, was essentially the 80s. And
yeah. No, you're right about that. And it's more true in the book. That's more the case in the book than it is even in the movie.
Which is why I kind of thought the book had come out in the 80s.
Oh, yeah, no.
I was surprised when he said it came out in 2011.
No, but it was written by a guy who grew up in the 80s.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And has a lot of nostalgia for the 80s. I mean, I feel like you could easily write a book that's set in 1960s London. Or has a lot to do with just music. Yeah, 1960s. Has a lot to do with the music scene and you know all the pop culture that was going on around that time. Like you're very knowledgeable and passionate about, and that's what the author's knowledgeable and passionate about.
No, I think that. And is the train of thought also that the creator guy was also like he was super nostalgic.
He grew up in the 80s as well. He grew up in the 80s. He was nostalgic for it.
That's kind of what I chalked it up to.
Yeah,
like that's
100%.
his favorite decade.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I just because I was thinking about it as a movie that came out. When did the movie come out? 2017 or something?
Yeah,
18.
As like, man, what 15-year-old is like super into John Hughes? But I guess it's just.
Well, that dude is super into the
creator,
right? Yeah,
which makes sense.
Yeah, so he's just into his interests, basically. Yeah, I loved. I really, I mean, you guys are not gonna be surprised to hear this, and I think the Tots won't either. I don't typically like animated films. Motion capture, for whatever reason, just in my like mental gymnastics, like I have more personal interest in, I guess.
I feel like there's a lot more that is motion capture that you maybe wouldn't think about.
No, I know that's true, but I guess what I mean is where everything is, you know, real actors, it's all mocap, you know, rather than pencil necessarily drawn characters flip through. I don't particularly like that animation style. Motion capture, I'm a little bit more like forgiving of, I guess. But I've never seen anything as photorealistic as the Shining set.
Yeah, it looked good.
I was very interested in how they did that and what they did because I thought I didn't look fake to me when I watched it.
There was a big mix of both. So there was like the girls, like they built some small sections of the set. They rebuilt some small sections where there were only human characters interacting with that area, which is really in that scene, in that whole sequence, it's just the two little girls in front of the elevator.
Yeah.
The hello, Danny, do you want to come and play with us? The rest of it was created digitally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that's
looks
crazy.
really good.
And
Yeah.
I'm pretty blown away by how
It was super impressive.
good that looked and how good it looked with them being in something very photorealistic and them not being very photorealistic. Like
Mhm.
that, like it didn't feel awkward to me.
This is, I don't know that this is a reference that's going to hit for you guys. But it very could have easily. Do you guys know the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour? Sorry, we're recording. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, when
Are
Jimmy.
you, are you on call right now? Is that
No,
your pager?
no,
Okay.
that's my timer. I'm in doing physical therapy because I hurt my shoulder.
Gotcha.
As a reminder, I just have to do it after this. But yeah, there every so often Nickelodeon would put Timmy Turner in Jimmy Neutron, and then Jimmy Neutron would go into the Fairly Odd Parents world, and they would look really stupid, and it would look really weird next to each other, and it very easily could have looked as stupid as that, but it didn't.
Right.
Like they kept their same animation style, or did they try to like transpose them into each other's animation?
They changed. So like, Timmy looked like Jimmy Neutron, and then they have this like, and then Jimmy and that animation style, but it just was wrong. It was weird. and dumb.
Were you guys too old to watch the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour?
Yeah, I was too old.
I mean, I watched Fairly Odd Parents and Jimmy Neutron, but only like it was like my little brother was watching it, and I was just like sitting with him and letting him watch it. Yeah.
The Jimmy Timmy Power Hour was hype, honestly.
Jimmy
But
Timmy
those
Power
were-
Hour was garbage. Those episodes sucked.
You're 2 years older than me, so you had a more refined palate, I guess.
Maybe.
I think when I reflect back on Nickelodeon, I think of like Doug and Rugrats.
Yeah,
Doug.
Same.
That's old school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean fair enough.
I like Doug.
Yeah. But you also watched Adam Ant, Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Yeah.
I also loved one of the things, getting back to this movie, one of the things I really, really appreciated about this movie was the score. I thought it was really, really good. And especially like when he pulls out the Zemeckis cube and does it and throws it, and it's all just Back to the Future behind. It's just exactly it's not the exact same notes at all of Back to the Future, but it just calls you back to it immediately. There were so many moments in the score that called back and alluded to other things. That
A lot of movies that we've already covered.
A lot of movies that we've already covered that I thought was really fascinating, really interesting. It was a really cool way to make so much homage in one film. That was super impressive to me.
What I think this movie did really well, I will say, is that it basically it's a film of homage, but it wasn't. It was still its own thing. It wasn't too much. It was like there was so much, and I don't know. It just kind of worked. It kind of made sense, and it didn't feel forced in a way. We're like, oh, let's talk about this thing I like, and this thing I like, and this thing I like. But I think it did it very well.
Mm.
Yeah. Where it's almost just a movie that's made to be like, I like these things, so I want to make a movie where I like these things. And
right.
It doesn't necessarily feel that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I thought it was cool too that it was like paying homage to like things outside of its own genre. Like there was a lot of video game stuff, but there was a lot of movie stuff and pop culture stuff and
a lot of music. And yeah, a lot of films as well. We have the T-Rex and King Kong in the race car sequence.
Mm-hmm.
The T-Rex being from Jurassic Park, King Kong from King Kong.
We've got the Back to the Future car.
Yeah. All that was really fun to me. And I was watching a behind the scenes documentary or making of, and one of the sound designers was talking about the DeLorean in particular from Back to the Future. And because Steven Spielberg was a producer on Back to the Future. And he produced the film. And so they were working on the DeLorean and doing some of the sound design. And Steven was like, oh yeah, I remember how we did the back vents. It's this fire extinguisher. It was recorded around this time. And that sound designer was able to go find the original audio file that they used for the DeLorean, some of those original sounds, to be able to remake it again in this.
What a move for Steven Spielberg to be like, I've done everything, and so I have a little tidbit about half of the things that we're referencing in this movie.
Oh yeah,
I was somehow involved in making most of this.
Well, and that's part of what makes this movie even possible is the book is so much allusion to like existing IP that when you have someone like Steven Spielberg, you get to be able to include all of that IP in the movie
He owns it.
because he owns a lot of it.
Yeah.
Like Back to the Future, like he owns some of that IP, even if he doesn't outright own it. Like he knows how to reverse engineer it himself, because he was there when it was made. He made it.
Yeah, I feel like if this wasn't based on a book, it'd almost be like Steven is just like, look at all this cool stuff that I did.
Yeah, a little bit.
What if we did a movie where we just smash together every other movie I've ever made?
Bring all my best movies into it.
Yeah.
I would love to see RDJ do that.
Just Iron Man and Sherlock Holmes.
Lots of
Iron Man, Sherlock Holmes, Oppenheimer, what's his
Doolittle.
name? The silent film actor, Charlie Chaplin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Tropic
Dr.
Thunder.
Doolittle, Tropic
Tropic
Thunder. Yeah, his character but just amalgamize all of that into one
I
character.
don't even know how you would do that.
I think we got to write it.
Have fun.
I'll write it.
All right.
And
Jake,
then
you can produce it.
and then
Sure, I've never
and
produced a movie before.
you guys just have to help me find how to pitch it to RDJ.
I got his number.
I know that he lives.
Oh, okay.
I know that he lives in a windmill.
Yes.
He does.
Somewhere in
Yeah,
Malibu.
and that's not a joke. He actually
Somewhere in
lives-
Malibu.
So if
Just
you
look for the windmill.
if you drive around in Malibu and you find a windmill, you probably could find him.
Because it's not like a windmill like a wind turbine.
No.
It's
no.
like a Dutch windmill.
Yeah.
This is actually true. He
Yeah.
lives in a
Yeah.
windmill?
He did like a video where they like walked through his house like an MTV Cribs type thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Architectural Digest, I think.
It was AD.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Wow. I didn't know that.
Honestly, I think it's pretty dumb, but that he lives in that windmill. But it does make it
Did
easy
you
to
watch
find him.
the video? Like, did it
Uh,
look?
I didn't like it. I watched the video a while ago. I don't
You
remember.
weren't a fan of
I
his
wasn't a huge fan of
taste?
it. No.
Interesting.
Zach and Jake in particular, for you guys now having seen this movie finally, does it is it weird at all for you that Apple just literally ripped off the concept from this IP for their Apple Vision Pro, like their new product? Like, did you guys put that together?
Is that what Apple Vision Pro is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it's an AR or complete VR.
man, good for them bringing us closer to dystopia.
They even did the exact same, when he logs in for the first time and he looks at the goggles and he puts them on and the camera pans around and goes into the goggles.
So what's his
They
name?
did that for Apple.
Tim Apple. I
Tim
forget
Apple.
his name.
Yeah, Tim
Saw
Apple.
this movie and was like, "Wow, our world should be like that."
Yeah, basically.
Good for him.
So what
and
is
good
this?
for
I don't-
Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
And good for Ernest Cline.
You
I
haven't seen the
guess.
Apple Vision?
Mm-mm.
It's a $3,500 starting price headset.
Okay. Just like a VR headset.
It's a VR
essentially?
headset. It replaces your computer.
Really?
Like you can do a HUD in your living room. It'll virtually pop it up in front of you, and you can virtually have a keyboard. And
Oh, weird.
And it
Okay.
can do everything your Mac can do.
And its only application is to show you the Creed Summer of '99 tour.
Yeah, when you pop it up, it auto types that into the Google search.
That sounds pretty cool.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
It's cool. I just don't know if I want to pay $3,500 for that.
Because you could probably go to
I
the
could
Summer of
just-
'99 tour for cheaper.
Yeah, I could just do it on my other computer.
Yeah. Watch that video.
Or you could wait for whatever time this movie is set in, 2240, for it to be
I thought it
free.
was 2045.
I don't know.
Was it that? It was
I think
another 100 years?
I think it was further in the future.
Oh, I thought you said 2045. But
Were you guys?
You could be right.
Were you guys a little bummed to find out from the marketing of this movie? I thought the whole world was like a junkyard stacked
it was
up,
just Ohio.
and I was pretty bummed that if something was going to be it would be Ohio, right?
Right.
But I
But
was
it's the fastest growing city in the nation.
Cincy. Yeah, it was Cincy, I think.
I think so.
No, Columbus.
It was Columbus, Ohio.
Not even Cincinnati.
Yeah.
but I was kind of hoping the whole world would be a big trash pile. If I'm honest.
I mean, it sounds like from his description, it was pretty close.
Yeah, well,
like
there
the
was,
guys in
riots
Japan
around
looked
stuff.
pretty clean when that guy tried to jump out of a window because he zeroed out.
That's true.
Like all of Japan looked pretty clean.
That's true. But he could have been some senior VP. You don't know.
Would you risk it all to zero out to save the Oasis?
Sure, yeah, I guess.
I would not.
What would your avatar be in the Oasis?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Probably Macho Man Randy Savage.
I feel like you would be Cat Dog.
Oh, dude, that's like
You would be Cat
even.
Dog.
That's so. Would I be cat or dog? Would I be both?
You're both.
You're both, yeah.
That's even way better than Macho Man.
You
Randy
could like
Savage.
press a button. You can switch like which way you're walking.
Or
What-
which one you talk out of.
What button do I press for it to have cat climb inside of dog?
Like an Ouroboros.
That's one of those
that was
special
an
movies you have to
episode.
spend like $500 on.
Oh, I would absolutely spend $500 on that. Are you kidding me?
As like a DLC skin. Yeah.
I feel like that was IP that was definitely missing from this movie.
Cat Dog.
Yeah.
Cat
Yeah, I
Dog.
needed some Cat Dog for sure.
What I didn't particularly like him. What do you guys think about T.J. Anderson, or what do you
T.J.
guys
Miller?
think in general, or T.J. Miller? What do you guys think about T.J. Miller in general? Maybe
In general,
General thoughts on
Yeah,
in general, I
thoughts
don't
on
really
T.J.
like
Miller.
T.J. Miller.
I don't either.
I've never really liked him, and then
He
I
had a cool
found out
gamer tag though.
I
iRock.
Oh yeah. Then I found out that he calls in fake bomb threats to people that piss him off, and I was like, wow, you're like even worse than I thought you were. So he didn't work for me in this movie either. But I think independent of all that, I just didn't think he was a very good character.
I moderately enjoyed him in the tech show that he was in.
I did like him.
Silicon Valley.
Season 1 Silicon Valley. I thought he was very funny.
Very funny.
But I feel like that's just him in everything he's ever in. And so he's definitely not one of my favorite comedians. And as a real life person, he doesn't sound like a great guy.
And I think that honestly, a lot of his funniness in Silicon Valley was his relationship with Jin Yang, and I don't think that he would have been that funny if Jin Yang wasn't in it.
I agree.
I would agree with that.
I
Jin
agree
Yang was
completely.
very funny.
Yeah, and then the way that Jin Yang would interact with him and torment him was
Yeah.
also very funny.
Very funny.
I just saw a clip of Silicon Valley the other day, and it made me think like I should really rewatch this show.
I've rewatched it a couple of times. It's very solid.
I don't think I ever actually finished it. I don't think I ever watched the last season.
Yeah, I haven't watched through the whole thing ever.
Have you seen any of it? at all?
Yeah, I've
Oh,
seen
okay.
probably
Yeah.
10 to 15 episodes across
It's good.
various seasons.
It's a solid movie, or I'm sorry, a solid show. T.J. Miller, though, I agree with you guys. I don't really like him all that much, to be honest. And in this, I really just didn't like him, and I really hated him after I watched the movie because I watched some like commentary stuff and like publicity and stuff like that. And T.J. Miller in an interview said that he was freaking out the day of, like, I think it was like first shooting, because he didn't have any of his lines memorized because he had procrastinated, and he was going in to shoot with Steven Spielberg for the first time. And he said, in his words, I thought, well, all of my characters, like, I approach it's from the voice. And so I just came up with this voice.
His voice.
And, you know, I did it, and Steven was like, that's great, let's just go with that. And, like, he was so excited. And I was like, dude, you just had your normal voice. Like,
I mean, I recognized it in.
Right away, I was like, I
Yeah.
know exactly
Yeah.
who that is.
yeah, you are not a vocal actor,
Yeah.
my guy.
There was no like, I think that might be T.J. Miller.
Yeah,
You're like,
no.
oh, T.J. Miller's in this movie.
I feel like all that does is just show how little Steven cared about that character.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%.
If I'm on, I think that the villains were the thing that worked, or at least the thing that worked the least for me in the movie. Like, I've never seen a more unbelievable villain motivation than for them to be like, oh, we're going to take this thing over. It's very profitable, and we're going to make it unusable. And then that way we'll make more money because everybody's going to stop using it. Like, what? They're going to sell 85% of the screen space to ads? Who would use that?
I don't disagree with you, but Ben, is it Mendel? How do you say his name?
Mendelsohn.
Mendelsohn, I think was still maybe my favorite part of the movie.
Actually, I didn't dislike him. I couldn't buy into the villain motivation for even a second. I was like, you're just going to play yourself.
Yeah, sure.
It's one of those things, though, where when you own the monopoly, you get to do that.
You get to do it, and then everybody gets to stop using it, right?
Yeah, but if there's no other game in town.
And I guess if your life
Anymore.
is just a big junk,
But there's no other. It's not like this is a PlayStation versus Xbox world.
Yeah, but like let's
In
say
this world, there is only one game that literally everyone plays, and the only way to connect with people, and the only way to buy things in most of life. Like, it's not just a game; it's where like all of their commerce happens. It's where all of their work happens. It's where their school happens. It's where everything happens. And so when you like in that world, in that like apocalyptic future, you get to think like that because you're not in a capitalistic society anymore.
I don't think that that's where their work happens, right? Because people were like in Japan, there was one guy playing it and everybody else was doing something else, right?
It is where their work happens.
But yeah,
it might not have shown that well enough in the movie. I think it did because I've also read the book, so I see what they're doing. But like, it's where everything happens. It's sort of like it's not like think about like Oculus trying to make a play like this. Like, think about all of the ISPs in the world coming together and deciding that they're going to make a change. There's nothing that anyone can do to get around every ISP in the world.
I guess.
Like, if they all agree and they all make a change, we all have to live with it.
I mean, kind of, but if an ISP is like, oh, what we've decided to do is reduce you to like 10 kilobits a second, you're like, well, cool, what am I going to do with this? This is a worthless product.
Sure.
That I'm not going to use anymore.
But if that's where all of commerce happens, you just have to. You don't really get a choice. They can set rates wherever they want. They can create ads wherever they want. It's the argument like against monopolies for sure.
I didn't get the impression that this was the only thing. I thought that I got the impression that this was what everybody did in their spare time.
Yeah, it's what everyone did all the time. Because even like at the end of the movie, when people are just on the street wearing their goggles, like it's not like spare time. This is just where you live life. And he kind of sets that up in the beginning of the movie. That like in monologue, he says that like this is where we do everything now in whatever 2045 or whatever it is, whatever year it is. Like it's where everything happens in the world is in the Oasis.
I don't know if the book gets into this. I doubt it does, but I think I would have been very interested to hear like just the butterfly effect that the Oasis has. Just like how many like deaths has this caused? We see like a clip of a kitchen about to catch on fire, I think, right? Like a mom leaves a stove on or something like that.
The dude jumped out of the building.
Yeah, like I would love to see
how many people committed suicide and died.
That, but then also just like accidental. Like people maybe like, you know, if they're wearing it in the street, walk into the road and get hit by a car or something.
It is the entire premise of the second book.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
That actually sounds pretty interesting.
No, it's really like honestly the book is way more like philosophically rich than the movie is.
Okay, yeah, no, I forgot that the second book is already out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and you took off work to read it. Interesting. So then is the second book about like should we have saved the Oasis?
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to.
You're gonna choose to shut it down.
Well, it's more so. I don't know. I guess what I'm going to give away is in like the first quarter of the book, so it's not like a huge plot twist. But the James Halliday, the creator that the main character is obsessed with, after the main character takes over the Oasis with his friends, he, you know, inherits all the money, you know, like he becomes the CEO of the company, like, and he gets a posthumous note from James Halliday, the creator, with like, hey, go check out this vault in R&D. And he goes in there and there's a headset that actually maps your thoughts and like downloads like a residual human image of your brain.
Oh, so you live forever.
So you live forever
in the Oasis.
But like a villain exploits this, and lots of people are dying as a result of it, and the whole world is, on the hook. Like pretty much everyone in the world might die as a result of this throughout the conflict of the book, and there is a lot of like back and forth about like, should we just erase everything
and destroy the economy, the world
destroy
economy?
the world economy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What would you do, Zach?
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Go back to monkey.
I wouldn't. I would sell 85% of the ad space.
You're like, that's the most reasonable thing anyone said this entire time.
Yeah, like that would make people stop doing it so much, and I'd still get rich doing it.
Were you bummed that he lost?
Were you rooting
Yeah,
for You were rooting for Sorrento.
Yeah, Sorrento. Yeah. Every time he came on screen, I kept thinking of his role in the Secret Invasion show.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I kept going, Gaia.
I didn't watch Secret Invasion.
I didn't either.
But I know the character because I watched Captain
I don't know
Marvel.
if anyone watched it.
I hope that you said that out loud in your house.
I did.
I guarantee he did because he said it on the internet.
Yeah. How was that show? Yeah.
Not,
I heard
not
it
great.
wasn't very good.
Basically, what the show should have been is all the stuff that's going to come after the show.
Okay.
Like it just like spent like 6 episodes like setting up like world changing events, but didn't show any of the things. So it's kind of like, okay, but like,
So does that mean any movie I watch after this, I'm going to be so confused about?
maybe a little. There's like
Wait.
millions of scrolls on the earth.
Of course there are.
Rhodey has been a scroll since he broke his back.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, Rhodey's been a scroll since he broke his back, so he doesn't know Tony's dead.
So wait,
Where's Rhodey?
Yeah, where's the real
He's
one?
been in like a trance in a scroll machine, and someone took his identity and his mind.
Oh, like from Captain Marvel.
and he's in
The
Ready
same
Player
machine.
One.
Similar to
Right.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
He's in the Oasis.
So like him, and also at some point the Hobbit. What's his name?
Martin Freeman?
Martin Freeman's been a
That's
scroll for a
Hobbit.
little while too.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Well, speaking of British actors, this was our second movie in quick succession with Simon Pegg in it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I really do. Like you said it on the Mission Impossible episode that you love him every time you see him. And like thinking about that and rewatching this movie, thinking about that episode, rewatching this movie, I think I agree with you. I think every time I see Simon Pegg, I just get happy. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a fun time.
Yeah, I think he always delivers exactly what's asked of him.
Yeah.
I actually feel like he outperformed in this movie. I think last time we talked about him, I said I didn't really care for him.
Mhm.
I really liked him in this movie, actually. I thought he was gave a very compelling performance for his very small amount of screen time.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
I feel like he kind of outperformed everyone else in the movie. I found his character really touching, and I wish that he was in it more. I actually was pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed his performance in this. And so maybe I prefer him when he's doing drama.
When he's not the comic relief.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen him in like a purely dramatic role. That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be
I
down
think he
to
could
see that.
do well.
The main character, Ty Sheridan,
Yeah.
has he had any other like big roles?
He was another like teen throb for something. Like it wasn't Hunger Games and it wasn't Maze Runner, but it was something like that.
Those are the only two that I know.
He's like Diet Coke Miles Teller.
He is Diet Coke Miles Teller. If you click on his profile, we could see like what he's most known for.
Oh, he was in X-Men. He played
He
Cyclops.
was Cyclops.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking probably. Just scroll up a little bit to
dude, he was in
most
a
known.
video game, Madden NFL 21.
Okay, well scroll up to his most known. What's he most known for?
Ready Player One, Mud, Joe,
Mud.
X-Men, Apocalypse.
I saw him in Mud, and then obviously in X-Men Apocalypse, where he plays Cyclops.
Now show me my favorite credited role here, Lame Tattoo Guy. What is Lame Tattoo Guy Lawrence Spellman been in?
That's a character. His character is Lame Tattoo Guy. I don't
he's in
remember.
Game of Thrones, Fury, and Chernobyl.
Nice. I wasn't
He
expecting
was
an
a
extra
gold
on it.
cloak in Game of Thrones, which means nothing. Like he was an extra. He's a very popular extra.
It's always funny to me to look at credits and see what kind of mean names characters get.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait till we're listed on IMDb for our podcast.
Dude,
Wait
you think
for
I'll be
it.
lame podcast host?
Lame pot. Well, one of us will be.
All right. I did it to myself.
I don't know who it's going to be, but
you
it's
looked
going to
at
be
me when
one
you
of us.
said it.
It's going to be one of us. Well, because you made the first joke and I did the add-on, so I
You'll
looked at
be
you.
Zach. You'll be podcast guest.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably be lame podcast host.
What do you guys think of Mark Rylance in this movie?
I like Mark
Loved him.
Rylance.
Is that Boat Dad?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
Boat Dad.
Boat Dad.
Not to be confused with Butt Rock.
You guys. True. For anyone out there who may have confused
Boat Dad
the
and Butt Rock.
subgenre of butt rock with the character in Dunkirk, Boat Dad.
Although that wasn't the character's name. That was just what we came up with.
Yeah, I
Boat
know.
Dad.
It's the only name I ever learned.
Yeah.
I wish that Chris Nolan had credited him as Boat Dad on IMDb. So you guys loved him. in
I
this
did.
Movie.
Yeah.
I thought he did good.
Yeah.
I when I said I love him, I was like, I haven't seen him in
You
a
like
ton,
the
but I
actor.
like the
You
actor.
love
I
the
think he
actor.
does a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's what I meant too, is I love Mark Rylance.
Yeah.
I think he did great in this, though. I liked him playing kind of two characters.
Like when he plays the wizard.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when he plays his avatar, he plays like definitely not the same type of character as the creator.
Yeah.
Mark,
I feel like either gives me a performance that I really enjoy or plays someone that I would be my least favorite person in the entire world. And he was the least favorite person in the entire world for me in this, as well as Don't Look Up. I just the entire time was just like, why would any 15-year-old kid like look up to this guy? Like he just
Because he created the biggest thing ever.
I get that, but he's also like the lamest dude to ever exist. Like he was just, and
I agree
every
with you.
time I kind of was brought out of the movie a little bit.
I think because he's lame is why he liked him. Like he connected, like he felt lame.
I think one of the things I hate most about this movie as compared to the book is they make the main characters in this movie seem way cooler than the book makes them seem in general. And so I think what you're experiencing is maybe a disparity in like the main character, Parzival, is actually a super nerd. And like Ty Sheridan is like, you know, not like he's a little like lacks self-confidence maybe,
Yeah.
but he's not a dweeb.
No, not at all. Like he looks like he'd be like a fairly liked kid.
Yeah,
Like
and
he's a
he's-
pretty normal
The
kid.
character is not.
Yeah, so maybe he's miscast.
Like
a
it
little
should have been
bit.
Right.
like Ned from Spider-Man.
I would have loved that. I love
it
that.
frankly would have been a slightly more accurate cast. Yeah. But when they got to the movie, they're like, well, we've still got to have attractive people. Like, you know, like as our
That's why we
leading
cast
man
TJ
and
Miller.
I'm a little
lady.
disappointed in Steven. I
Well,
expected more from you.
TJ Miller, we never see
Yeah, I
his
know.
face. Yeah.
And I think that's for the best.
We see his grotesque body, which is somehow more attractive than TJ Miller.
With the giant holes going through it.
So I have a question. You said that the Shining part is not in the book. Is there like an alternative to that, or do they not go into a famous novel / movie that just
Every trial is a combination of like knowing famous arcade games, video games, movies, and like music from the 70s and 80s.
got it? I think that was a decision that they made that was a really great decision.
I agree.
Because it played well in a movie.
I agree. To give you an example, one of the challenges, so the second challenge, the one that I guess was The Shining, the second challenge was like in the book was that he had to like word for word recite the lines from the movie War Games from
I've
the
heard about that.
perspective of Matthew Broderick's character. So he was like virtually in the movie as Matthew Broderick's character, and he had to perfectly recreate the entire movie, like all 2 hours of it, from memory.
Huh.
Which, like, as a book is kind of fun to read, but in a movie, that's super lame to watch. Like,
Hold on, let's take a break and let's just watch War Games.
I feel like the parts of this movie that I liked the most was when they were simply trying to just like finish Halliday's game, essentially, or his mission that he gives them. I thought that was always really fun and creative. And then when it kind of becomes like the let's save the world part of the movie and like let's take down the big bad CEO, was when it felt a little more generic to me. And I feel like I would have maybe enjoyed this movie if it was more so just like there were less stakes. And maybe there was just like the villain character was just another avatar that was just trying to beat, I don't remember, Parzival.
yeah.
And the finished goal was just like completing the game. I feel like I would have maybe enjoyed that more.
If the antagonist was more the challenge than a human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think I agree with that totally, because I think that's also where the movie lost. Like it lost me a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
I also the suits you could buy where you feel the pain.
Yeah, why would you do that?
I'm like, why?
Haptic suits.
Yeah, like,
Well, but you also feel the pleasure.
well, one, I don't understand that technology. Like, it's just like outside clothing.
Yeah, I'm not defending it that hard.
Yeah.
I'm just,
But I'm like, even if that's the case, like, can you deactivate it when you're not doing that? Like, why? I don't want to feel the bullets and
You know
I mean, they kind of indicate in the book, because obviously way more detail goes into a book than
Yeah.
into a movie in terms of exposition. And they indicate that you can like dial back or dial up the settings to your preference. So like a bullet can feel anywhere from like nothing to like
A real bullet.
no, like a punch.
Okay.
Like that's kind of what they like indicate in the book, that like the best haptics, it's still just more like, like a solid punch than a bullet.
Also, are there like neutral zones in the Oasis? Okay.
Yeah, so there are areas where you can have player-to-player combat and areas where you can't have any player-to-player combat. So like they show that in the library or whatever that they go into, like that's a no PvP zone in the book.
Got it.
Although that isn't even a real place, but there is a place similar to that.
Okay.
There was a line in this movie that I thought about, and I thought this is really dumb. And then I thought about like my real job and how so the line is when all these corporate people in suits are looking, they're like, he's not even cleaned up. And I thought that's so dumb that they're saying that. And then I remember I work for a very big tech company, and we have like some service. We have like a service called Totoro, apparently, which I didn't know about. And then I hear like a 60-year-old man be like, did you look that up on Totoro? And I realized that that's probably pretty reasonable, actually.
You're like, people do talk like that.
It makes me giggle every time. Something like when an old man who has no idea what anime is has to say words from Miyazaki movies. I think it's so funny.
what clan would you be in?
The Rotten Potatoes clan.
Yeah, I would assume that we are a clan.
I joined the Sixers.
Ouch.
I'd be part of IOI.
You'd sell out for sure, you guys.
Sure, yeah.
Ouch.
To
Jake,
take it down
yeah.
from within, though.
We're the Rotten Potatoes clan.
Yeah, we would go first to the egg.
I feel like we wouldn't be the Rotten Potatoes clan. We'd be the Tots, but like we would be like
We'd
the
be the admin.
admins for it. But then
Right.
all of our Tots could also be in our clan.
But it's like TOT5, right? Or T0T5.
Yeah, I would get with the 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some like lead speak in there.
Yeah, a little bit elite. Just to make it cool.
Yeah. Would you guys rather have a Z or a 5?
5.
Zach, you have any
Elite?
preference?
What's elite?
Elite is like terms for that like don't use like real letters.
Now,
LOL is technically elite speak.
have you ever seen somebody type something in a way that makes you want to punch them in the mouth?
like N3RD.
Yeah, like
IRL.
like
Yeah,
Leet,
yeah.
and Leet speak is spelled L33T.
Okay.
And
got
I
it.
see people do that, and I think I want to punch this nerd.
Uh-huh.
Like that's what Halliday would do, and I would punch him.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Leet Speak was really big in the 90s.
Okay.
Really big in the 90s. And a little bit in the early aughts. So you kind of missed a lot of it.
I guess so.
You got the version that like went out to the masses, like LOL and BRB.
Yeah.
But like Leet Speak was like,
But I
way
didn't even know what
crazier.
it was. Like I didn't
Oh,
know
yeah.
it was Leet.
Yeah, like Pwn, PWN.
Yeah.
Like Pwn is Leet Speak.
Got it.
IYKYK,
Okay.
dude.
Wait, say that again?
IYKYK.
I'm not even gonna try.
If
to
you
say
know,
that.
you know is what he's
Oh, okay.
TLDR.
I apparently didn't know.
It's enough Leet speak.
What really didn't work for you guys in this movie?
I think I already said it is like T.J. Miller. It was the villains, and then it's kind of maybe the last 30 minutes of the movie. I wasn't that into, honestly.
Yeah, both of you guys talked about that. I'd love to, in the last couple of minutes, hear a little bit more like what you didn't like about the third act.
It felt like what I liked, what worked about the movie for me was the quest and like them figuring out the trials and them figuring out all that. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
And we weren't really doing that anymore. We were like gearing up for a war and like infiltrating it just didn't work as well for me. But then also there was the end, and it just feels like it almost felt like a little kid telling a story. And it's like, well, then also the bad guy came up, but then the police came and they arrested him, and then everybody in town was around, and then they cheered while I kissed my girlfriend, and I got to run the biggest thing in the world with all my friends. That's just kind of the ending felt to me.
Get owned, Ty Sheridan.
You Diet Coke, Miles Teller.
You kind of touched on something that didn't work for me as well, which was the romance between the two. Or I guess the romance on Parzival's end.
Honestly, the romance works way less in the book.
Really? Why?
It's so awkward.
I would have loved it.
Like intentionally because he's a dweeb in the book, or like
Yeah.
maybe not. Okay. Are they both dweebs?
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is that like I don't know her name either. Olivia Cook's character like seems
Artemis.
like kind of like a badass chick, even in real life too. She's like leading a rebellion, and like so she doesn't seem like a dweeb.
They're
Yeah.
all like total outcasts. None of them have any friends outside.
I
of
think
this.
you were right to say that they seemed too cool in this. Like the
Mhm.
9-year-old kid who knew jujitsu and could like beat up
That
adult
kid
men.
was awesome.
He was awesome for sure.
I mean, coming from someone who enjoyed what's the kid's name in the Goonies?
Oh, get
Little Iron Man.
Data.
Yeah.
Data.
That
Sorry.
makes sense.
Yeah. It was awesome.
No, but really the third act, it felt like it just kind of dissolved into just a more generic like young adult. Like just like
Yeah.
we have the team of like preteen, young adolescent kids that are going to take on the big bad guy. It just kind of felt like a Hunger Games with less apocalypse and more 80s.
More Iron Giant.
More
kinda wish-
Iron Giant.
I kind of wish Artemis
And
would have
Terminator
been.
references.
I kind of wish Artemis would have been what H said he could have been, or she could have been, like just like a middle-aged, overweight dude.
Like the WoW guy from South Park.
Yeah.
You know, like they're like doing this whole
His
thing.
name
This
is
dude like
Chuck.
rolls up in like an electric scooter because he can't walk.
So like, yeah, like Kevin James. If this was like,
Yeah. Recast Parzival with Kevin James.
well,
Not Ned.
Ned, no,
Artemis is
Ned,
Kevin
yeah,
James.
Artemis is Kevin James.
Oh, recast
So if we
Artemis
get
with
Ned,
Parzival.
Yeah.
Ned.
And Parzival and then Kevin
Kevin
James.
James.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Artemis.
can we have like maybe Chris Rock as H?
Sure.
Like really like kind of put it on his head a little bit, you know?
I like that.
Like he's hiding who he is, but not
Like is
really
Chris Rock, like
as
is
Chris
actual
Rock.
Chris Rock?
Yeah.
Super meta.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I would love
So
that.
it's like really old Chris Rock too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm Chris Rock.
No, it's old Chris Rock, but his avatar is young
It's
Chris
young
Rock.
Chris Rock.
His
Yeah.
avatar
And
is
everyone's like, oh, who's really behind the Chris Rock avatar? But it's actually
It's
Chris
Chris
Rock
Rock,
the whole
yeah.
time.
Why wouldn't his avatar be his character from Madagascar? What's his name?
Oh no, definitely not.
Marty?
Marty.
Yeah, definitely not.
You pulled that out. I was like, I am not going to get
I would
this.
never have gotten it.
I love that. I love Ned from Spider-Man to Kevin James and Marty. All in the same movie.
Just a zebra running around.
It's sort of like Grown Ups, but like in the future. You know.
So David Spade.
Hey, I
is
didn't
the
realize
curator.
David Spade's the
I
curator.
didn't realize that we had 2 out of the 4 grown-ups.
We'll replace T.J. Miller with Adam Sandler.
Perfect.
Another raspy voice, dude.
But he can do like a song, like a semi-funny song in the middle of it.
I think Adam Sandler should do that in every movie he's in.
Yeah,
I was
agree.
upset he did not sing a funny song in Uncut Gems.
Or in Punch Drunk Love.
Didn't
you
he
know?
just come out with
Or in
like
Hustle.
a new
Come on.
movie that's getting like super good ratings on Netflix?
Again?
It's like You're Totally Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah.
Oh, I haven't.
Is Adam Sandler having a bat mitzvah?
I haven't heard about this.
Yeah, apparently it's getting good reviews. but-
A lot escapes me on Netflix.
There's
Yeah, I
so
don't got
much
it.
A
on
lot goes
Netflix,
under the radar.
and somehow I don't see any of the new stuff until somebody tells me about it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, where is it?
Yeah. It's buried in Netflix. Before we put this to bed, I just want to say, like, in defense of, like, I guess my own nerddom, I freaking love all of the references in this movie. Like, I kind of offhandedly threw one away earlier, but like when the Iron Giant is collapsing into the magma, throwing up the thumbs up from Terminator 2,
Mhm.
like all of those little details, like seeing Sonic the Hedgehog in this was really cool. You know, yeah, seeing Master Chief in this,
I don't remember Sonic.
seeing
Uh-huh.
the Millennium Falcon, seeing an X-Wing, like seeing a lot of these like things
Uh-huh.
show up, like every single time brought me so much joy. Like I felt like, to your point, Jake, earlier, like this truly was, there's a lot in the book that is truly fan service. I mean, this was an author who was a nobody that wrote a book that the world fell in love with. And then Steven Spielberg fell in love with it and made a movie about it. But he's just a nobody from like Arizona. Like he had not really written anything before. Like this was just an idea that he had. He ran with it and it was so much fan service. But he does it in a way that I appreciate, and I like all the fan service. And I felt like Steven Spielberg did a good job of giving that back to me in a visual format instead.
It's the amount of times I feel like it's crazy to me that this is somebody that never wrote anything and then made, you know, it was huge. I feel like I heard everybody talking about when it came, like when the movie came out. I didn't know that the book came out similar time to the movie, but like,
I mean, well, no, that's not true. I misspoke when I said that. If I said that, they were working on getting the movie made before the book was released. So like while it was still with the publisher, they were in conversations to make the movie, but they hadn't made the movie yet.
but he was still like an unknown.
He was still an unknown. He was a nobody.
That's always crazy to me that somebody can just do that. You know, just like, oh, you know, I got an idea. I'm nobody, and now I'm super famous.
He's on set and Steven Spielberg is like, oh my God, like, hey guys, like the author's here. And everyone's like, oh my God. And this guy is like walking around like, I'm on Steven Spielberg's set right now. Like he walks into, like he has a like perfect reproduction DeLorean that he's like meticulously built himself. Like that's what kind of a like nerd the author is. Before all this happened, like he's just that nerdy.
Sounds expensive.
Very expensive. Like very, very expensive.
It sounds like you're telling me that he wrote himself into the book as Halliday.
No, he wrote himself into the book as the main character, Parzival.
Okay.
But like I said, in the book, the character is way nerdier
Yeah.
than in the movie. But yeah, just a total super nerd. And then like, you know, one of his favorite movies is obviously Back to the Future. He has this, you know, Back to the Future DeLorean. And he's like walking onto a score stage, a sound stage, where his favorite composer of all time is scoring his story. Like that's an insane rags to riches moment. Like it's hard to pass up talking about like how life changing that would be. Like if you just wrote something for the hell of it because you're like, oh, this sounds fun, and then a few years later Steven Spielberg is making a movie out of it, that would kind of blow your mind.
It was just, I was thinking about it when you were saying, it's like, I guess anybody could just get lucky. Like, why not just do it?
Yeah,
You have something you're thinking about, just go for it.
I'm trying to remember. I'm racking my brain. I read something or I watched something where the author talked about what inspired him to write the book, and it was something so silly. Like he ripped off some other ideas. Like, oh yeah, what if that? But it's in the future and it's like video games.
Huh.
Oh, it was Willy Wonka. This story is.
I can see that.
This story is what if Willy Wonka was a video game designer.
Interesting.
I can definitely see that.
Huh.
That's what made the
mention it.
author decide to write this story, which is honestly like it's such a small but apparently like a very original idea. Like I felt like this was very original, but it's really just Willy Wonka.
Have we talked about how I'm Willy Wonka, the remake, is one that I would end my life over?
Yeah,
Johnny
we did
Depp,
actually
yeah,
talk about that.
Timothée Chalamet.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah,
Was that a bit that we developed on pod or not?
I
thought
think
we
I
did develop it
texted
on
the
pod.
group.
Oh,
about
we
it.
didn't develop this bit on pod at all.
No.
Oh, so I just introduced it right now.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
sorry,
a-
it's
there's a
hard to
list
do
of
that with
movies.
no fanfare.
It's remakes.
What's your story?
Unnecessary remakes that you would.
Perfect little bit there.
You're welcome.
Remakes that I would end my life over.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's one of them.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't look all that great.
Yeah.
What was the first one that spawned this bit? I don't remember.
I thought we talked about it on the podcast, but I can't remember now.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
Oh, I think it was the new Oceans movie that's supposed to come out.
There's another Ocean
maybe.
movie coming out.
I actually,
Yeah, this is the one that you said you'd kill yourself.
I actually,
All right. No, I got to do it.
I thought it was I thought it was the Indiana Jones movie.
It could have been.
Yeah.
I don't care about Indiana Jones, so that's
but
definitely not it.
I think at one point I talked about how they're remaking the original Ocean's 11, not the Soderbergh one,
Oh,
with Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie. And I think you said I'll end my life
over
of
that. Did I? Because it exists.
All right. I
That
guess
makes
I got to do it. After Barbie, I would
Yeah.
watch anything Brian Gosling and Margot Robbie were in together till the end of time.
And if you want to see that happen, you can subscribe to our Patreon.
Oh, no.
Am I live stream that?
We're
allowed.
I mean, the walk is coming out first, so that's right on the corner.
Oof.
So you need to get your will in order.
Yeah, I guess. Bye, guys.
All right, Scott, what do you think we put this one to bed?
Yeah, Tyler, you're up first.
I'm going to give this a 6.9. More attractive IROCs than TJ Miller's.
Jake.
I was wrapping my head around what Tyler just said with the unit. I'm going to give this. I'm surprised you went 6.9. I'm going to give this a 7.1 cat dogs.
I'm going to give this a 7.2 Diet Coke lead characters. Zach?
I'm also going to give this a 6.9 movies that I wish Marty the Zebra was in.
Can we come out with that list for Patreon?
Yeah.
I'm down.
So this comes out to a 70%. Once again, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 72. IMDb gave it a 7.4. So we're right in line with them, and it comes out to movie number 97 out of 145.
Nice. Yeah.
Jake, where are we going next week?
We're going to watch a movie that Zach told me has Ron DeSantis vibes. A Beautiful Mind.
What?
Oh yeah, speaking of, I didn't say this before the recording.
Dude, I think this episode's just going to be effed up.
Can you turn my headphones down just a little bit? They were a little hot for me the entire time.
Oh, Patreon. We He's in 2, I think. He must be in 2.
Let's see.
No, I'm 2.
Yeah,
Oh, then
that
4.
sounds no different to me. Oh, yeah, I can't hear anything. Okay. I think that's okay. Is that where it was?
It's like 1 click less.
Yeah, okay. Good enough.
Honestly, I normally do changes in a click. So when one of you is like, oh, turn me down, turn me up, like it's just 1 click at a time. So Patreon, love you guys, and hope you enjoyed that ep and those spicy takes about Mark Rylance, I guess, maybe?
Boat Dad.
Boat Dad.
Yeah, not Butt Rock.
Not Butt Rock.
Not Butt Rock.
Boat Dad.
Boat Dad.
I think that our butt rock takes are going to be hot because butt rock is, like, by definition, something you're not supposed to like.
That's
And
true.
We're
And
defending
we're going to be
it.
And if you defend it,
Yeah, we're
then you're
defending butt rock, so we're hot takes there.
Jake gives off major pro butt rock, like just energy.
Can we make a? Okay, I know we don't have. Oh well, whatever. We can stop.
the Patreon.
You can say it. I haven't
Can we
ended
make
it yet.
pro butt rock stickers?